I'm joined in studio right now by Michael Lynch, who's running for the 2nd Congressional District. Michael, thank you so much for joining me.
It's a pleasure. Thank you.
Let's just start off. Why are you running?
Well, I started off running primarily because I saw the effect of the environment that had been left. In Gratiot County, we have a number of environmental issues. Those people that are old enough to remember PBB, the PBB crisis, where they accidentally mixed flame retardant with livestock feed, happened in Gratiot County. And the site where that happened, 50 years later, still has not been cleaned up. When I look out my back door at the Pine River, very often it's got an algae film on the top, and that's really what got me to push me this direction. My father was an Air Force officer, my mother was a Marine, and I started to find out more and more about the condition of active duty and veterans, active duty personnel and veterans, and I felt that there's something that needed to be done. The suicide rate amongst active duty is higher than it's been in a long time, and there are any number of active duty personnel who have problems with housing and other issues. And currently I'm working with a retired colonel out of Washington, D.C., and we're working on programs to help transition from military life to civilian life, and how difficult that can be, not only from a job point of view, but also from a family point of view and an environmental point of view. A lot of people that get done with their service end up going back to the same place where they lived before their service began, and they're finding not only that a lot of things have changed, but many things have not changed. And it's those things that haven't changed very often that gets in the way of their ultimate success.
You talked a little bit about why you're running. What issues do you believe that the people in your district, the 2nd Congressional District, care most about?
Well, I think a big one is jobs. 4 of the 5 most impoverished counties in the state of Michigan are in the 2nd Congressional District. And we need jobs, we need opportunities there. It's a rural area, and I've lived in rural areas about half my life, and I realize how important public education and strong public education is in rural areas, because the community depends on those strong public schools. I mean, after all, where have I been the last several Friday nights? I've been at Alma High School football games, and it's not about so much the football game. It really, because all my boys were girls, so it's more about just meeting my neighbors and meeting people I maybe I haven't seen since last fall, and you get together at communities. Another thing is healthcare. Right now, healthcare is the opportunity to get to health care is becoming diminished in rural areas. We need to do something about that. There used to be a program to help fund tuition for doctors and nurses who are willing to work in rural areas, but unfortunately that program has been eliminated. We need to bring that back. Our farmers need to be paid better for their produce and for their livestock, and maybe that means that we need to break up some of the conglomerates, some of the monopolies that right now are dominating the agricultural industry. Not only will that raise prices that are going to farmers and ranchers, but it'll also decrease the prices at the grocery stores.
Now, if you're elected, what would you do in Washington to make sure that those prices are lower, to help those farmers out, to help those people in those rural communities? Well,
the first step is to work to have the antitrust laws that are already in place enforced. Also, Kamala Harris refers to it as the opportunity economy. Creating opportunities for people to enter those industries, so there is not that tight control. Also, to fight for further consolidation. Consolidation is simply going to restrict the ability to keep prices down. Keep prices low. Also, we've pretty much taken care of a lot of our supply chain issues, but keeping those supply chains in order is going to be important. Another issue is, again, manufacturing in the United States and manufacturing in America. Not only will that bring jobs, but it'll also make sure that our supply chains don't get interrupted. So, for example, the semiconductor plant in Hemlock. It's not in my district, but it's a very important part of growing the economy of Michigan. There is a plant in Mecosta County where they're going to build components for battery batteries for cars, and other things. And we need to get those jobs. We need to get good paying jobs, and good paying jobs are going to feed the local economy, and that just kind of goes. Being a person that has an economics degree, an MBA, and a PhD, I've long known that trickle-down economics just doesn't work. So it has to go from the bottom up or the middle out.
You talk about jobs.
Yes.
How do you entice companies to come to Michigan, to come to those areas, especially in your district, because it spans, I mean, so widely across Michigan?
It does. It's a very large district, second largest district in the state. And part of it is just to, number one, we need to get the college students from, let's say, Central Michigan, Western Michigan, Ferris State, to stay at home. We need good, well-educated, very competent employees, and after that, it's just letting the businesses know. Number one, and this may sound kind of funny, but we are not as affected by climate change as a lot of other areas, and there are a number of areas, coastal areas, that are looking to move their headquarters, looking to move their business because they see the possible outcome of climate change and how that could affect their employees and their business. And yes, there are incentives that you can use, tax incentives, that you can use to help companies come to this area. And I'm not against those, but they have to be balanced. You can't just be a win-lose situation. It's got to be a win-win situation.
Michael, as we wrap things up here, is there anything else that you want to say that we didn't talk about?
I love the people of Michigan. They're hardworking. I love in the rural areas of Michigan how neighbor helps neighbor. I love the fact that the natural environment is so beautiful, and our watersheds are so important, not only for commerce, but also for the quality of life. I had a little girl come up to me when I talked about cleaning up the Pine River, and she was so excited because she says every time she goes to the park, her mom won't let her go anywhere near the river. I want to clean up that river for her.
Michael, thank you so much for joining me here in the studio and talking about the issues and why you're running. You can see Michael Lynch on the ballot coming up November 5th for the 2nd Congressional District.